Hi, it's Chris Watkin here, back with the next ICG webinar, and we're talking about all the issues around stamp duty. How are we going to cope with vendors and landlords, so buyers as well, trying to get their sales through before the stamp duty change? And then if it doesn't change, what are we going to do to get more listings and get them more sales through post-lockdown? So first off, let us go to Kristjan Byfield, agent in Shoreditch. Kristjan, what advice would you be giving to estate agents with regard to trying to get the sales they have in that pipeline? Because there's almost, it's constipation at the moment, getting them through. What advice would you give?
So look, I think with anything that's not yet under offer, it's about preparation, right? It's about making sure that when any property you're taking to market is genuinely sale ready. Solicitors instructed, information packs ready to go, so that those hurdles are removed. Any client we're talking to, if it's a flat, the very first question we're asking them is about EWS1 forms, these cladding forms that every lender is now requiring on every flat sale. Even
if it's a converted terraced house.
We're finding we haven't seen it on terraced houses, but any block of flats, because originally this was going to be at least 6 or 8 stories plus, but we're seeing lenders applying it on everything. If it's a flat, they want to know. Like I said, not probably on detached house ones, but anything that is a purpose-built block of flats. Because also what's coming out, it's not just about the cladding now, it's about fire breaks, it's about the insulation materials, it's about et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So this is just sort of default protection. So again, that's one of the key things. We've had a few people contact us recently about selling a flat, and our first thing is, do you have an EWS form? Because if your building doesn't, don't even bother going to market until you've got that sorted. Because the pipeline on that can be months just to get that inspection and report generated. Because again, there's a massive short supply of companies that can carry those out and a massive backlog of buildings that need them. So, those are the hurdles, get those preparations ready. The other thing I would say is start having, not the conversation per se, but start raising the topic of the cutoff and what happens if that is extended and what happens if it doesn't. Start having your vendors and your buyers thinking about that, so that if whether it's extended or not, if it's extended, I don't think that impacts anyone, but if it's not extended and we've got that cutoff, what is that result going to be for each individual transaction? For the buyer, does that mean unless they can discount their stamp duty saving off the price and possibly off the cash they're putting down, are they able to proceed? That's something I think as an agent you need to understand now. Is that does that prevent the sale from being critical? And likewise with the vendor, if they're presented with that situation, are they able to still complete on that revised price basis? But they need to start having that thought process now. So they're ready. Are you
talking about estate agents actually talking to each other and talking up the chain and moving stuff through? God forsake, that sounds like proper estate agency there. Thanks.
Crazy ideas. Crazy.
Well, let's go to Ben Sellers.
Well, first and foremost, I got to big up a fellow Baggies fan, being Richard Megson of ASAP, who does this as a living at a rate of knots, and helps the whole sales progression go through rapidly, not only with having an awesome network nationwide, but also having some great tech that streamlines a lot of it. But on sort of my side, or Starberry's front with our clients, what they're doing is they're really making sure that interested buyers are there, as where possible, they're actually trying to sort of get them as advanced buyers so that they're having their AML checks. They possibly have already got a mortgage certificate or in principle offers. So you don't waste a bunch of time with people that are actually going to hit a brick wall.
Yeah, because it's all those little days here and days there. A huge one is that negs need to be talking to their buyers and said, if a solicitor wants something, you drop everything, because we're all guilty of, I'll look at that at the weekend, and it all adds up, doesn't it, like a snowball. Bradley, have you got anything to add to this?
Yes, just pick up on what both Ben and Kristjan were saying. It's worth mentioning that if you focus on your communications and your operational efficiency using the IT that you've put in place, using the tools that you have, like Ben was saying, rank your clients, do your upfront ID checks, enable clients to help themselves or remotely do things like, upload their ID documents or various other documentation. And that frees up your staff to do the stuff that only the staff can do. So use your existing IT to do the grunt work, freeing up the staff to optimize your operations and to get those transactions through.
Interestingly, again, I hear a lot of estate agents are overvaluing properties to get their business, but in fact, that can actually be doing more harm than good because they won't get the sale through. I mean, let's assume on the assumption that it doesn't get extended. What should estate agents be doing now to ensure that their vendors and their buyers are aware that these bills are coming? Any thoughts on that? Put your hands up if you've got anything to say. Kristjan.
Look, I think the age-old thing of overvaluing, that's nothing new, particularly in a strong market, right? So you can only sell a property if you've got it on your books. I don't think any of us as agents are fans of overvaluing, but good luck at stopping that practice. Look, I think at the moment, actually, you can be using overvaluing in tandem with the stamp duty holiday at the moment as quite a good way. If overvaluing is the only way you get that instruction on your books, like I said, you can't sell it without the instruction, so get the instruction. But even if even if that is overvalued, if you're bringing them an offer that's 5-10% below that market value, but you're saying, look, we've got a pre-vetted buyer who is chain-free, verified, and we feel has a 95% chance of completing this sale before the stamp duty holiday deadline, well, maybe you've got something to offset that slightly awkward position you've put yourself in. Is where I would be thinking.
It's interesting that Paris actually had a stamp duty change, and that finished, and they've seen not a cliff edge, but then property market has almost returned back to normal. Let's go live to Ben Sellers.
I was just going to say again, representing some of the amazing prop tech services solutions we've got in the ICG. One of the other big parts is actually making sure you've got a good mortgage team, mortgage advisors on your books. And obviously Mortgage Advice Bureau, I think they got 150 or I actually don't know exactly how many branches they got around, but a hell of a lot of partnerships, one of the largest around the country nationwide. And it's about making sure that they're working and knowing which banks and who to work with to speed this process up. And, I've heard very good things and great results from them. So I think that's worth considering if you don't have a relationship already.
Okay, let's go to Bradley.
Yeah, just picking up from what Ben was saying there again, the stamp duty coming to an end doesn't necessarily mean it has to be a complete wipeout. There are people who still want to progress with their sales anyway, but also it is possible to find other ways that you would be able to save your potential purchasers money as well, such as what Ben was saying, getting great mortgage deals, showing the value, showing the gains elsewhere. So they might be paying slightly more on the one hand, but then perhaps offsetting some stuff on the other side as well, and that just comes down to good business practice.
I mean, let's be honest, and let's finish on this note, is that some of the prices have been quite inflated. So after the event, the negative things will say prices are down, but we're only going back to what we were 12 months ago, which was nothing silly, and therefore we've got to frame it that prices haven't dropped, they've just returned back to normal. So in reality, you're not losing because people are paying top dollar for properties at the moment, but saving the stamp duty, swings and roundabouts. I just want to say thank you for your time today, everyone, and I hope that's been useful for you, and we look forward to seeing you next time on the next ICG webinar.